Welcome back to This Week. Time now to get the views of our media and political experts. Metro Councilman at Large Jerry Maynard.
Good morning.
Syndicated talk show host Steve Gill. Welcome, guys. 2 days before the election. It's just about here. And I guess it's probably not a good idea to tell the President of the United States to take his endorsement and shove it. The Democratic gubernatorial candidate in Rhode Island went from first to third, lost about 15 points in about a week.
You know, part of it is that, you know, even if you do not like the job President Barack Obama is doing, people in this country, both sides of the aisle, independents, respect the office of the presidency. And telling the president to shove it is bad. I don't care whether you're a Republican or a Democrat.
Yeah, and definitely if you're a Democrat, your base. I mean, you just offended your whole base. And where is Obama popular? Well, among the base, among African Americans, minorities, and the base. So your hard Ds are basically going to say, we're going to vote against you just because of your arrogance to say what he said.
Particularly if they have a place to go, which Lincoln Chafee is basically, he's the guy that embraced Barack Obama during the presidential campaign. This guy embraced Hillary Clinton's campaign. So it's like every opportunity. I mean, for the Obama team, this was like a perfect opportunity to say we picked the right guy.
Right.
What we're seeing a lot of, and we see this every year, but really an influx this year is independent money coming into these races, here in Tennessee specifically as well in the 4th District race. Scott DesJardins was basically out of money, got some input, and really got back into this race, is at least tied, if not leading. So it kind of shows the effect and the impetus of this to get this money in these races.
The late money is helpful, but this money would have made a lot more difference for Scott DesJardins if he'd come in early. He never got to establish who he was before Lincoln Davis was able to go in and just absolutely demonize him. So people are now hearing only two sides of negative, and there's really no positive out there for Scott DesJardins, and that may be the reason he comes up just a little bit short.
And Lincoln Davis is an incumbent. You cannot say that he is an Obama supporter. He's been voting with him 99% of the time. He is a conservative Democrat. Being the incumbent, he has an opportunity to go on his record. And so the difference between someone who's running for the first time, they can be defined by their opponent. Lincoln Davis is defined by his record. I think Lincoln Davis is going to win this race because the money did come in late, and half the voters have already voted.
And nationally, this outside money has been a real player in a lot of these different races.
And on both sides.
Yes,
you know, we had the White House for a while attacking the Chamber of Commerce, which I think was a mistake because most people don't think about the Chamber of Commerce as a bunch of K Street, Washington, D.C. lobbyists. They think about the local banker, the guy that runs the local hardware store who's part of the local Chamber of Commerce. So I think that attack was not only bad politically, but it was just off. I mean, you've got George Soros money, MoveOn.org money. You've got a lot of outside money on both sides of the aisle in these campaigns.
But the difference between the outside money, as he just described with George Soros, is that that's transparent. We know where the contributions are coming from. With the outside money, like with Karl Rove and the Chamber, you don't know where that money's coming from. And there are allegations that we have foreign companies, foreign countries contributing to the Chamber. And so that's the big difference, transparency. You know, Barack Obama is right when he deals with that. We need to know where that money's coming from, who contributed that money, who's having influence over our election.
Except we don't know where the money came in for Acorn, for MoveOn.org, for the labor unions, the SEIU. There is no transparency on the left either. We need to clean that up on both sides of the aisle.
But look at the amount of money, the dollars that are going towards Republicans versus Democrats. You cannot argue it's on both sides because you have to look at it from a proportion. The money that's being spent in the independents is coming to the Republicans. That independent dollars coming in, expenditures, that's all Republican dollars. You cannot say it's on both sides. I mean, you just can't.
But more money's actually been spent in this election cycle by Democrats rather than Republicans.
By small dollar donors like myself, not like you rich guys. By small dollars like me.
You mean like $10 the rich John Kerrys and the Corzines and all the rich folks that are putting their own money into the campaign.
Let's talk about the governor's race. This is one of those years. Usually the governor's race dominates the headlines of the political contest. This year it's been the congressional races. The governor's race has been really kind of lackluster. Not a lot of specifics from either candidate, and it looks like it's going to go the way it's kind of been predicted since January.
Well, we normally, at the top of the ticket's important. McWhorter has got to continue to run hard. McWhorter has to continue to borrow money or give money to his campaign for one reason. He decided he wanted to be at the head of the ticket. And that's important. He has to continue to fight for these last 2 days. Why? Because we need it for Sam Coleman. We need it for Roy Herron. We need it for Lincoln Davis. We need it for those other competitive races down the ticket. So McWhorter cannot look at the polls. He's got to continue to go, fight, and go to the very last minute before 7 o'clock on November 2nd because we need that energy and that turnout for the races down the ticket.
And from your perspective, the coattails could be huge and could cause a tidal wave of Republican wins in Tennessee.
Yeah, I think you could easily see 4 or 5 Republican House seats pick up in the State House in Tennessee. You could see maybe 1 or 2 Senate seats get picked up. And I don't think Mike McWhorter is going to write a check from his checkbook and has already shown he's not willing to do so to kind of carry the flag for the Democrats and put his own money at risk. That race is already decided. The question is whether there is any down-ticket impact and whether some of these congressional races, like the 6th 6th District, Brett Carter has not had the money to really mount an effective challenge to Diane Black. Stephen Fincher looks to be winning big over Roy Herron. The question is whether those wins also carry Republicans in the State House and the State Senate in those districts on to victory with the coattails of the governor added on.
Looks like Bill Haslam, too, gets away with the comment regarding doing away with the handgun carry permit law. If indeed it's passed by the legislature, he said he would sign it into law. In many cases, for or against that kind of issue, that could have been a real turning point in an election. It's not going to be this time.
Well, what I would like to know is why is Bill doing that now? I mean, when you look at the polling, you don't have to do this. You don't have to overreach, if you will. Stand on principle, stand on your record, and tell the people who and what you are and what you stand for. Bill didn't have to do this, and so I don't understand it, and I don't know if this is going to be indicative, rather, of how he will be as a governor. I don't know him that well. Steve?
I don't think this is an issue where he was really trying to take some definitive position. I think as he's tried to explain himself afterwards, it was a contentious argument in this gun meeting where a couple of Looney Tunes, frankly, were trying to press him beyond where he was willing to go, and I don't think he was as articulate as he needed to be on what his position was. I will say I think Jerry and I could have made a bet at the beginning of this campaign that the last issue that would be motivated in the governor's race was going to be guns. I think either of us would have taken the bet that there's no way that would have been the defining issue. In a close race, it's the kind of stumble that might have made a difference in the Bill Haslam case. In this case, he's so far ahead that he could virtually stumble between now and Election Day every day, and it wouldn't be enough to
Steve Gill, Jerry Maynard, appreciate your time and your insight. Stay with us. This Week continues in a moment.